All right, so let's talk about my 8-year SP manifestation. I have told this story multiple times, but today I'm going to go into like little more minute details. It is a Saturday. We have a hurricane coming to Florida. So I'm just chilling, taking it easy. So let me share some stuff with you. Okay, cuz I know a lot of people, they hear 8 years and they're like, oh my God, that's too long. But I didn't wait around for this person. I was like living my life, creating my life. It was majority of my 20s. And I was like traveling the world, and I was solo traveling, and I was like having all these adventures, going through identity crises, because when I met this person, we were both professional athletes. I had left my career as a professional athlete. He had left his earlier. And I had to do like major identity work on that. When we reunited 8 years later, which it was like wild, you guys. Like, I just don't think you understand, because I didn't know conscious manifesting. I just had this like feeling like, will I ever see this guy again? Why do I feel such a strong pull to this guy? All these things. And I was like, am I ever going to re-encounter this? And I would have so many doubts. And again, I didn't know about conscious manifesting. So like, I had to kind of force myself to move on from it and work on myself. And like, I was building my life. So there was like 8 years to me, it was jam-packed. I was obsessed with other people. I dated other people. I was heartbroken over other people. There was so much that happened in that interim. But when we reconnected, it was crazy, because like even COVID came into play. I had basically had a trip planned that was canceled because of COVID. Apparently so had he. It was for the same travel company. So when we had reconnected, we were talking about travel, and we both had these trip credits that we had to use. And he's like, well, I'm going to Greece, you should come to Greece. And then I was like, should I? YOLO. I had just gone through a breakup. This was when I got into conscious manifesting, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna come to Greece. And like, there's so many minor details, but like the things I will never forget was, one, I haven't seen this man in 8 years, and like the first time I see him is like arriving at the airport in Greece, in Athens, and it's just like, hey, how you been? And then we were like on this bus together going to the hotel, and I just remember like us looking at each other like, this is insane. This is actually insane. It was a mix of feeling like you could not convince a younger version of me that like this would be our story right now. And also like it feeling so natural, as if we had just seen each other a week ago. Like, it was insane. Like, it was like we picked up where we left off, but at the same time we immediately like went out exploring. And like one of the first things he said to me, he's like, you are like a completely different person. And as like the week progressed and we were able to like connect deeper, and we talked more about like the time that we didn't talk to each other, or even like the reasons why things fell apart at 23. And a lot of the confirmation I got were things that I felt intuitively, feeling like, is this man thinking, like, do I think of him so much because he thinks of me so much? Like all the thought transmission stuff, because he would, you know, let it slip. He'd be like, I still think about you all the time. And I would talk about you. I would talk about you a lot. And I'd try to like pry, like, well, what were you saying? And, you know, oh, that I was with this golf girl and that she's still doing astrology and like spiritual stuff. So we didn't follow each other on Instagram, so I knew he, by him saying that, he was still following. He was still keeping up to date with me, which is crazy because I was obviously doing the same thing. And then after that trip, we did stay in contact. We would, you know, talk a lot, and I think we established like a friendship thing. I was still healing from like a heartbreak before him, and I was still like doing a lot of work on myself and knowing that like I need to choose myself. I can't just jump into a situation. Like there's still a lot more healing that I need to do, and it wouldn't be fair to me or to you. But we stayed in contact like friends, and we would talk a lot. And I was just had this moment like I feel like I never truly knew what it meant to feel like unconditional love for somebody who is not like a parent and things like that until this situation. And it's really because, not because of like who he is to me, but like what he has inspired out of me, what birthed out of me because of what I went through with him. And it like makes me super emotional because I will be like forever grateful to like what he represents in my life, what I accomplished. Like I became a published author because I was inspired to write about my relationship with him. And like those are the things that it's like,
if you are looking to manifest a specific person back into your life, this is the video you need to watch all the way to the end, because I'm going to tell you exactly how to do that. So in this comment, I'm replying to someone mentioned that they manifested their specific person back, but they left. And they were asking, why is that? So guys, if you go a couple videos back, I actually share my story of how my husband and I actually got back together and winded up being married. But I want to share something with you. We were broken up for 3 years, and we were off and on in terms of we never fully committed in the relationship, but like we would date, we would try to move forward, and then it just never worked out. This happened at least like 3 to 4 times, and it was freaking exhausting. And it makes you not even like want to try anymore. Forget it. That is what you are supposed to do. Okay, hear me and hear me well. When you become frustrated with your manifesting your specific person, it makes you focus in on your own energy. They left because you were putting too much attention onto them. It's like a cat-mouse game. It's a chasing. And especially men who are in their divine masculine energy, when they are not the person who is chasing or the person who is stepping up and leading, they typically fall back because you have tapped into that role. So here's what I recommend. In manifesting your specific person, focus on your self-concept. Think more about what you can do to fill your cup up, to fill your life up. Don't waste your time thinking about that person. I would say maybe spend 10% of your time doing actual like manifestation affirmations for your specific person, doing belief work. But after that, it's back on you. 90% of your energy should be spent on you and getting you what you want. And I promise you, you will attract your person out of nowhere. It will happen in the most divine, crazy way, because that's what happened to me. And I am a living proof of specific person. I'm not just preaching it. This is my life. This is my husband and I have a kid and a baby. Okay? You can do this. There's nothing that can stop a relationship that is meant to be.
She actually manifested the breakup because every single day she was constantly worried about what if, he meets someone else and likes them more? Like, what if he abandons her? And like not really feeling confident, just always worrying and stressing out about the relationship, right? And upon talking more, we realized that there is a belief in there that was, I'm not lovable, I'm not enough, people always leave. And Sohn rejected those beliefs, but they were really there. They were present in her subconscious mind. And that was constantly causing her to have patterns where people would come in and then leave, or be very hot and cold. And so what we did was we pinpointed the root cause of this belief. And once we did that, she was able to change it like this. The moment she changed that belief, guess what? She saw her SP from across the street. The SP worked as a paramedic. So she saw her SP literally across from her house working. And then a few weeks later, her SP literally reached out and they got back together, and they are still together ever since. Guys, it is insane because so many people they'll go and they'll try everything on TikTok, not understanding that, hey, you can tell yourself, like, I'm pretty all day in the mirror, and you can tell yourself, I love myself, which is very important to do. But unless you know exactly what belief you need to change, you're kind of just a hamster going in a circle, right?
Here's how to exactly manifest your specific person in 3 days. It does not take 21 days to manifest. I see people manifesting things overnight. If they can do it, you can too. Neville Goddard himself said that the duration only takes 3 days to receive your response from the world. Biggest secret is living in the end state, feeling as if you already have it. I'm going to tell you guys exactly how you can practice that. What I personally found what works, and I manifested things overnight by doing this method. First, create 3 affirmations with the I am statement, saying it in the mirror out loud. Then you're going to script it out. You're going to script out the exact story that you want to experience. So if you're manifesting a specific person, script out the experience of how you want them to reach out to you. What do you want them to say to you? Really feel the emotions of this happening if it were happening right now. Before going to bed, you're going to visualize exactly what you just scripted out and playing that mental movie right before falling asleep. And those who struggle to visualize, you can also reaffirm the affirmations you created before. That also works just as well.
How do you deal with a circumstance like this where this person has to see their SP all the time and the SP is talking to them about a third party? Well, someone else commented on this and said, stand in your power and affirm something different. Yes, that's exactly it. Let me tell you what kills unwanted circumstances: non-reaction, indifference. And the moment you reach non-reaction and indifference with a circumstance like this, and you can look at your reality and say, I do not accept this, and revise it on the spot when something happens, it's a game changer. It will fall away. It takes practice, but it gets easier the more you do it. And you command your subconscious, you command your reality, you make commands to reality. It doesn't command you. It doesn't tell you what is. So when you're looking out there and accepting it as final, you're seeing your old thoughts and assumptions playing out. So you're going to just recreate them when you continue to react to them. So if you can look at them and say, no, this is just the old stuff playing out, I'm not going to accept it. I'm going to go within and persist in what I want to see because I make the commands. Reality doesn't tell me, I tell it. So I'm not going to accept what I'm seeing right now because I know what I'm persisting in will be pushed out to be experienced. It will take over. And when I don't react to things like this right now that I don't like, it will fall away. Don't be a lazy reactor. Be a conscious creator. When you don't react to things that you don't like, you will no longer keep them alive and they will die so quickly and fall away. Nothing kills unwanted circumstances faster than non-reaction, and it might take practice, but the more you do it, the easier it gets. Calm your nervous system. Go within and say, I don't accept that. This is not what's happening. I am the one and only. He doesn't even talk to this person. Change the narrative. I have done this many, 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 many times myself. Seeing unwanted circumstances and going, nope, that's not what happened. That's not what's happening. This is what's happening now. And you know what? Later on, that's what happens. So it takes practice, but you can do it.
At the beginning of the summer, I decided that I wanted to manifest my dream life. So I started to think about what does that look like for me, and really got into the state of being that version of myself and embodying it. All I would do was put my awareness on the version of myself who literally had everything that I want. The house, the husband, the career, the animals, literally everything. So I would continue to put my awareness on that version of myself and the conversations I would be having, how I would feel, and like really visualize what that end looks like. And I think I did that for like about 2 weeks, and then I forgot about it. And then things started to immediately unfold for me. And through a series of events, I started to become the version of me who literally is able to talk to you right now in front of this camera. Something I really, really wanted to manifest was having a social media career. There was this one day where I woke up where I had the biggest urge to film a YouTube video. And this urge was so strong, I felt like I could not go into the next day without filming this video. So I filmed a YouTube video, and it was like overnight, I became literally my dream self. All of the fear that I had surrounding social media, my insecurities, pursuing it full time, all of those fears were gone. Literally, in 24 hours, they were gone. I started saying to myself things I would never say about myself. Things like, no one compares to me, I am the best, I'm a star, I'm successful. And the only time I would say those things about myself was when I was affirming and persisting and trying to force myself to be that version of myself. And that was like so long ago, 6 months ago, when I was into affirming and persisting, which I no longer am. I went through a period, if you guys know, where I switched over to non-dualism, and now, yeah, I'm still doing non-dualism, but combined with states and embodiment. So basically what I'm trying to say is that those thoughts are now just my natural thoughts. I don't have to force them. I don't have to affirm a billion times a day. I don't need to listen to a subliminal. I don't need to script 24/7. Those are now my natural thoughts and my natural way of thinking. And the funny thing is, a few days before I made the YouTube video, I was listening to this podcast about women who want to become businesswomen, and it was also a spiritual podcast, and the host was talking about how you need to go through a healing journey. You need to fix your self-concept. You need to do this, that, and that. You need to heal before you can get to this point. And I was like, no, I don't need to do any more healing. I've decided that I am already the version of myself that is successful on social media, that is pursuing social media, that is doing it full time and is successful at it, and all of those things. And just as easily as I decided that I was not going to go through a healing journey and that creation was already finished, I could have easily decided that I was going to go through a healing journey, and that would have put me in a whole other reality. And after this shift happened, I kept telling my friends, I feel like I quantum leaped. And it was because I couldn't wrap my head around ever being that old version of myself. It was like night and day. I actually talked to Indigo about this because she said something in her live that really resonated with what I was feeling. She was talking about Neville Goddard's principle about how you can't serve two masters at once. And it finally made me realize, oh my gosh, the reason why I can't even fathom being the other version of myself is because you can't serve two masters at once. I'm either the version of myself who is pursuing the career or not, or the version of myself healing to get there. This entire situation also reminds me of when people manifest their SPs and their SPs get a really strong urge to message the person. That's exactly how I was feeling. Now I understand how SPs feel, because that urge was so strong, you guys have no idea. I could not go into the next day without filming this video. That's exactly how I felt. And what this confirms to me is that you will be moved. Everything in your reality will be moved, including you. Including the thoughts you have, including the feelings you have, including your actions. All of it will change. Therefore, the only thing that you need to do is decide and let the unfolding happen. But I mean, don't just take my word for it. Go test it out yourself. There is so much more to this story, especially on the husband and marriage part, that I have to share and tell you guys, but that will have to be for another video. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
I really want people to understand that there's very little time between you asking for what you want and you getting it. 3 days ago, I really thought about it. And I was like, what else do I want? Because I'm so in tune with the universe, with my manifestation, with conscious creation, that I'm like, okay, I just get whatever I want. So what do I really want? And I was like, I want friends. And once again, I've said a million times, there's nothing wrong with wanting. Literally nothing. I don't understand why a few members of the community put this stigma upon wanting something, like it's pushing you into lack. It's not pushing you into lack. Just like not having something is not pushing you into lack. It's literally just showing you what you don't prefer and showing you what you do prefer. I prefer to have friends, and that's what I asked for. I was like, you know what? I want friends. I want to go out. I want to do something cute, whatever. And mind you, that's extremely out of my comfort zone. I honestly don't really go out ever, whether that's lunch, dinner, whatever the case may be. But today, I'm at a bistro, and I'm about to go eat brunch, and then I'm going to the farmer's market with some of my coworkers. Mind you, I just started a new job, and the girl, so sweet. She was like, "You've never been to the farmer's market?" And I was like, "No, I haven't." And she was like, "Oh my God, we should go." And she was like, "We should get lunch before." Here I am. It's crazy how it works. And when she said it out of her mouth, I'm like, okay. You know what I mean? I'm connecting immediately that this is due to what I asked for and what I put myself in the alignment of. Because it wasn't I don't have any friends. Oh, no. It was, okay, I know my friends are coming because I just asked for it. To me, it is really that cut and dry. And it's 11:11 right now.
So here's the story of how I manifested in my specific person more than 4 times, I think, and key tips of how I actually did it, and also got to the point where I didn't even want my specific person in the end anymore. My self-concept was great in so many different areas of my life, particularly my career, but when it came to relationships, my self-concept was so crap. I remember meeting this guy who I was head over heels with. I genuinely put him on a pedestal straight away. I thought he was really attractive. And I thought, this is the guy that I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. Now, moving into the relationship, so my self-concept was really low, more so in relation to him. So I put this guy on a pedestal. I think he knew it. I had these limiting beliefs around relationships, just in general, really. Not being the person that people commit to, not being good enough, not being deserving enough. And so when I had this guy on this pedestal, I instantly thought he's going to meet someone so much better than me. There is someone way better out there for him than me. And lo and behold, that's what I was manifesting, to the point where he was cheating on me left, right and centre all the time. I'm not saying that I was to blame for him cheating, but I know that the way I was showing up in that relationship was not my best self. It was an anxious, worried, stressed out version of myself because of the self-concept that I had. My beliefs around myself and my relationships were being pushed out into this relationship. And lo and behold, he was reacting to the energy that I was giving out as well. Ultimately, we would then break up. My self-concept would be insanely low as I'm going through the breakup process, but then all of a sudden I'd pick myself back up again. I'd really start working on myself, start putting myself first, and all of a sudden I would start to have these beliefs that were coming in of, I was more than good enough for him. I was more than good enough for him. He was so lucky to even have me in his life. I'm the one that's back on the pedestal. As time went on, sometimes it was a year, sometimes it was 6 months, sometimes it was just a couple of months. This happened a fair few times. I'll tell you why. But as my self-concept became so good to the point where I was back on the pedestal and I was thinking, he was lucky to have me. Lo and behold, he would start showing back up again in my life. He would start giving me attention, find excuses to speak to me, reiterate the affirmations that I was saying about myself, that I was so lucky to have you. No one compares to you. All of these things that I've been saying about myself, he was mirroring back to me. He was actually saying them to me. I got sucked back in and I was back in the relationship. And because I still had all of these beliefs about this guy, it was just a repetitive process. It was a vicious cycle that we were going through, that my self-concept would drop in the relationship, it would all fall apart, and then when we'd break up, I'd pick it back up again, and it was like he was feeding off of that energy again. Like I said, this happened probably about 4 times all the way through my 20s, and in the end, I got to the point where I was just like, my self-concept is so much higher now than what this relationship is to me. He was no longer being put on that pedestal anymore, and it got to the point where I thought, I deserve better. It's this or better, and I want better, and I walked away. What I'm saying from this is you can get so sucked in to your specific person, but if your perception of yourself in this relationship is so low, that's where I want you to start putting the work in. That is where I want you to start working on your self-concept, not only in relation to your specific person, but just you in general, in relationships, in different areas of your life. I want you to start working on you. You deserve to be on that pedestal. No one should be on that pedestal but you. And you know, it might get to the point where you realize that once you're on that pedestal, once you've really worked on your self-concept, that your specific person isn't aligning with your new self anymore. Don't beat yourself up over that. That's a good thing, because you're aware of what it is that you want in your life, what you deserve to have in your life, and you are only prepared to accept that or better. Me, in the end, my ex wasn't my wish fulfilled. I'd done that much work on myself, and I think we'd been through that much that I was just at the point where, no, I deserve better, and I found better. And that is the key to this. You should always put yourself first. Put yourself on that pedestal, and remember, it is this or better. Stop stressing yourself out over relationships that you have with these specific people, because it's this or better.